Hi, everyone. My name is Terry Markson. I'm the Senior Librarian for the Exploration and Creativity Department at the Los Angeles Public Library. First off, I would like to invite everyone to join our Winter Reading Challenge, which officially began on Monday, December 6th, so it's not too late, though. It runs until January 8th. To register, go to lapl.org/winter, complete 5 activities, at least 5 activities, you can do more, and you will be entered into a drawing to win an enchanted prize from the library store. In addition, our libraries are giving away free books and fancy book plates to kids and teens while supplies last. And here's an example of one of the very nice book plates that your child can get. Also, I hope everyone checks out our online calendar at lapl.org/events. We have so many amazing offerings, including a 2-part introduction to skateboarding with SkateBud, which is the next 2 Tuesdays, so tomorrow, December 21st and December 28th, both at 4 p.m. And now on to today's program. I would like to thank the Reading Challenge Fund, the Library Foundation, and our behind-the-scenes staff for helping to bring this program to you virtually. And we are very pleased today to welcome back expert paper crafter Sarah Neill, who will guide us in making sweet 3-inch by 3-inch thank you cards, perfect to send after the holidays for all those wonderful gifts you'll probably be getting. The cards will be adorned with an origami heart that Sarah will also show you how to make. This project is perfect for recycling and upcycling materials that you probably already have in your home. So I hope you've gathered the items that were on the list on our online calendar, but if not, don't worry, I'm going to read them off to you so you can go ahead and grab them now. Supplies include some cardstock. It could be cut already, or you can cut it to 3 inches by 6 inches, so you'll be able to fold it. This can be from boxes, packing material, cardstock. Paper strips, so this can be construction paper, wrapping paper, magazines, or old cards. Any kind of paper you're able to fold and measures 3 inches square. So that can be solid paper or patterned. A liquid adhesive such as Elmer's glue or double-sided tape. Scissors, a ruler, and colored pens. Okay, you got all that? Wonderful. So we're all ready. Please let's welcome Sarah Neill.
A lovely introduction, Terry. It's so great to be back, and I'm really thrilled to be sharing another card making experience with everybody here today. So as Terry said, we're going to be making some very cute little thank you cards, perfect to send out to anyone you've received a gift from, or you can even add a different sentiment here. You could add a thing thinking of you. It's totally at your discretion as to what you're going to be using these cards for, but they are going to be perfect for lots of different occasions. And also, don't forget, this is going to give you a little opportunity to maybe create some hearts that you might well use for Valentine's, because before you know it, we'll be there. So I hope you've had an opportunity to gather a few of your crafting materials or some paper supplies, and we'll get started. So I'm going to start off with working on creating the origami heart, because this is going to be the center of our little card that we're going to be making. So for this, I'm going to just bring in a piece of construction paper, and you can make this any size that you want, as long as it's a square. The one that we're going to be making for the actual card, we're going to want to have a 3-inch square. But what we're going to do, I'm going to use a little bit of a bigger piece to start with, so that I have an opportunity to show you, and you can have like a practice run if you like. If you have a paper trimmer, this will be the perfect opportunity to use it. If you don't worry. You can bring in some copy paper, and you can measure out with a ruler and a pencil and trim it. And one of the other really great things that I find with using a ruler, and if you bring in some construction paper, you can actually really easily, I'm just going to bring a piece in here, you can actually really easily tear them. So if you hold your paper firmly, imagine that I've already measured this, so I have this to the exact measurement that I want. Actually, you know what, let's just do it. because I'm sure you're going to be bringing in your materials too. So let's make a 4-inch square. So I'm going to mark off the 4 inches here. I'm going to draw a line for myself. And I can either use my paper scissors here to cut this off, or I can just hold my paper firmly in one hand, the ruler in the other, and just rip it straight away. Now this is going to give you a rough edge, but you know what, for me, I am more than happy to have a little rough edge there. I think it gives a little extra texture and a little extra detail. So it can be totally your choice. If you're happy to have a nice frayed edge, and this is only on here because it's a construction paper, and that's just the way that the material is made, the paper is put together. If you are, for example, to bring in a piece of copy paper, I think you'll find that your paper is going to be a much cleaner edge. So I'm going to have a square here, so I'm going to also come in, it was 4 inches the other way, so I'm going to bring in 4 inches this way too. So rather than draw my edge this time around, I'm just going to hold my ruler and give it a rip. So that's a quick, efficient way for me to create a square very quickly. And you can be using it 4 inches, you can go straight to the 3 inches, or you can bring in a piece like this. This is origami paper, and this is a 6-inch square. So you might even have some origami paper around too. So we're going to have a go at making this heart. And I'll make this a few times, and we'll go through it step by step. And if you have any questions, then obviously please post them. If you have a piece of paper that's got a pattern on one side, like the origami paper I have here, you're going to want to start with that pattern facing downwards. If you have a paper that's two-sided, you don't have to worry about that. So I think I'm going to just bring in this origami paper here so you can see how it comes together with one-sided paper. So we're going to start with a square, and as I said, you can bring in any size square that you want to. If you're practicing, definitely bring in a larger piece because it's going to help you. So we've folded it in half. I'm going to open it up, and we're going to fold it in half the other direction too. So I'm going to turn mine, rotate it around, and I'm going to bring that bottom point right up to the top there and fold along here. And you want to really make sure that when you're folding these, that you create a really crisp line. And you can use your fingernail to run along here just to give it some real precision, and you want it crisp as crisp can be. Okay, we're opening it up now. And we're going to bring this bottom point up to the center line, right into the very middle, where the middle of that crosses. And we're going to fold that down. Okay, so we've got one part. Now I'm going to rotate it because I find it easier to always bring my bottom point up. Excuse me. So I have my straight line at the top, and I'm going to bring my bottom point, and it's going to come right up to the very top now. So you can see where you have that fold line already. So it's going to meet at the top where that fold is. So we have this shape going on now. Now the next fold can be a little trickier. So I'm going to take a few moments, and we can always go over this again. So you have a fold line in the middle here that we already created. And I'm going to hold my finger here, and I'm going to pull in this left point where I can see the point where my paper is the decoration. And I'm going to bring it up. Okay, and now my finger down at the bottom here, that was just helping me to secure and making sure that my paper didn't go over that line. This fold of the paper, along the bottom, is going to come and join right up along here on that folded edge there. You can see it's not folded, but that's that folded edge that we opened up. So it's going to come right across there. And then you're going to push down and give this a nice, clean, crisp edge. So we're going to repeat this on this other side. So I'm holding my left finger down here at the bottom, and I'm going to grab this corner over on the right side. And it's going to fold up and meet up over here on the other side. You see those two lines coming together? And then we're going to just push out on the right angle here, or not, sorry, it's not a right angle, but on the angle here, and burnish that down. So we have our shape, and they will pop open, but we have our beginnings of our heart shape here. We're now going to flip this piece over, and we're going to do a few folds on this side. We're going to fold this top point down to meet down on this line across the horizontal line, and then that point too is going to come down. I'm just going to turn mine so it's easier for me to manipulate. So this little point here, I'm actually just going to put this pink paper underneath here so you can see for sure. This point at the top of the heart is going to come down and fold right there. And we're going to burnish that across. That's just reinforcing the fold line. We're going to now do that on the other side. So this point is going to come and meet. This can be a little tricky, so just give yourself some time and a little patience there. There you go. So it's just folded those 2 points in. And now we're going to fold the 2 points on the sides, and those are going to come in too. So we've got one side. Just make sure you reinforce those folds, and then we're bringing in the other side. And when you look at where that's happening, it's happening at that junction right there where you have the line that's horizontal line meets the kind of back side, if you like. So it's just going to fold nicely down there. Okay, so those 2 points, you've got the 2 top points and the 2 side points. And now you turn it over and we have our finished heart. How pretty. Super, super pretty. I have to say that when I first started making these origami hearts, it became very addictive. And I have made many, many, many hearts, all different sizes. And once you have the hang of it, it's definitely something you're going to be making lots more. So I'm going to run through this again, just to make sure that you have got the folds. And if there's a sticking point at some point, then we're going to run through it again so that you can see. So I'm going to be using a larger size again, just to make sure that we've got this done. So we're going to fold it in half on the diagonal here. Also putting point to point, should I say. So point to point. Okay, I'm going to open it up. I'm going to rotate it. So that's where my fold line is. And now I'm going to bring the bottom point up to the top point. And line them up. And then push along this folded edge to give it a nice crisp finish. I'm going to open it up. And I'm going to bring the bottom point up to that midline. And fold it over and burnish that line nicely. Now this is where you could take the top and bring it down, but I like to, as I say, bring my bottom line, my bottom points up. So I've rotated it fully here. And I'm going to bring that bottom point, and it's going to come all the way up to the very top line there where the fold is. There we go. And give that a good push, clean, crisp line. Okay, so we've got to this point. This is where we're then going to bring our sides in to make the top of the heart. So I'm going to hold my right finger down where I have that center line we've created, and I'm going to pull this point, and it's going to fold over and bring it to the top. Okay, so we've got that little point coming up to the very top there, and run my finger along here to give me a nice crisp edge. So I'm going to repeat, but doing on the other side. Okay, so hold my left fingernail here to hold into that area. I'm going to bring the right one over, and I'm going to pull this corner, folding it as we go, and bringing that to run alongside. There we go. So we've got a main shape of our heart. I'm going to flip it over, and we're going to fold the little points in. And And again on the other side, fold the little point down to that horizontal line we had. Can be a little tricky. You can imagine if you made a 2-inch square and you were folding in these tiny little bits, it would definitely need some serious manipulation there. Fold the sides in, and then we're going to come over this side and fold this side in too. Okay, so we have our 4 little points folded in, and we turn it over, and there you have it. You have your heart. So very fun, not too many folds, not too involved, and you have a great little heart there, and you can make it any size you want to, any square, so it definitely has to be a square to work with. Okay, so as I said, the one I have done for the heart, I've used a 3-inch piece of paper. I've got a 3-inch piece. I'm going to just run through this. So find yourself a piece that you would like. I've also got pieces I've cut out of magazines. You can see one here, just any size, and I've just trimmed these out of some pieces of paper that I found, some pieces of magazines. And we're going to make, so this is the last one I'm going to make as far as the hearts are concerned. If anyone has any questions, then please ask away. So I'm going to flip this over because this is what I would like on the outside of my heart. So you can see this is 2-sided. So if you want whatever is on the outside is going to be on the back side right now. So I'm pulling up my points. My points are going to meet. There we go, opening it up again, rotating it. So I'm going to bring the other points together and make my second triangle. Okay, opening it up and bringing the bottom point to the middle. I'm going to rotate it around. So I have my point at the bottom, and I'm going to bring that point right to the very top this time, not to the middle, but it's going to go to the very top. There we go. So we've got this unusual shape. Now I'm going to bring the sides in along that midline, pushing down on the fold lines, and then the second side, bring it into the midline. So there we got my heart. Just to flip it over and then bring in these points. So the top point is going to come down to that horizontal, and then the second one. And then we've got our outer side points too. So I'm going to bring that guy in, give it a good fold down, and then the second one. Okay. See, I want this guy to go a little bit more over. There we go. Okay. And now it's time to fold him over. So there you go. So I've got a very strong blue heart here, which has got a little bit of a snowflakey design on it. But this is just a piece of paper that I have from a magazine. So you've got your little heart all ready to go there. It is going to pop open here. So what I'm going to do here, and this is what I did on my cards too, I just added a little bit of glue, and it's just going to be in that section there. Probably not the best color for me to show you with this blue. Let me bring in a different color. Let me just show you here. So on the heart, I'm just going to put a little bit of glue in here to hold that down so it isn't popping open all the time. Now you can bring in your double-sided tape, or I've got some liquid glue here that I'm just going to put in here. Just a little bit of liquid glue and push it down. And that's going to help it from popping out. And then again on the other side, a little bit of liquid glue here and close it down. Okay, you might be okay with it popping open, but I just wanted to hold it a little bit down. It's not going to go down flat entirely because I like dimension on my cards. And you can see that this has still got some dimension on these cards. So the heart's still popping out, but not too much. I'm going to put a little bit more glue in here. It's not holding so securely right now. Let's give it a few moments to dry. Okay, so whilst our heart is sitting to one side there, and it's going to dry off if you've used some wet glue, we're going to bring in and work on creating a card base. So I have a card base here that opens, and it has the fold at the top. The card base is 6 inches, 3 inches by 6 inches. So you've got 3 inches going across this way, and you have 6 inches this way. And then when we fold it in half, it becomes a 3 by 3 card for us to work with. So this is something that was from some packing material that I had. So you can bring anything you want to. If you have only something like, let's think, construction paper, you can definitely use it. It's just not going to have such a strong rigidity to it for the card. So again, you can always measure yours. And obviously then you'd want a pair of scissors because you're not going to be able to rip it so easily. So I have a piece that I already measured out. So I have 3 inches by 6 inches. And then I'm just going to bring it in and fold it so that I have my edges together. So I'm just bringing these together as well as I can, holding it in place there, and then pushing against this fold line and running against here so that I can give myself a nice crisp edge. So we've created our card base. Super, super simple for us to work with. Now is the time for you to decide on, well, I think it's the time to decide on, on what my sentiment's going to be. But you might, before you decide to write down, you might decide on the color palette that you're going to be working with. So I've got a nice strong blue heart here. And I'm going to then create some blues in my background. So then I'm going to write my sentiment in a blue because I want to keep it in the same color palette. So if you know what you're going to be doing, and I'm just going to stick this heart down here because we stuck the other one down. If you know what color palette you're going to do, then pull out a pen, or if you are a crafter or stamper and you have stamps and ink, then pull those out. And we're going to add our sentiment. When I can, I like to add my sentiment first. And the reason being is if I make a mistake in what I'm doing, and I've put all this beautiful time and effort into creating my card, and then I go and write my sentiment, and I'm like, oh no, it looks terrible, then your card, all the hours that you've just put into creating that card, you might be like, oh no, what am I going to do? Well, there's always room to correct. We always say in crafting, there's never a mistake. It's always an opportunity. So for me, I'm going to put my sentiment in first. And if I had a disaster, then I could always cover it up and change the orientation of my card or change something like that. So for me now, let's see, I'm actually going to bring in a gray. So I'm going to hand write my thank you on here. And as I said, if you're a crafter and have stamps, then maybe you're going to bring in a stamp and stamp it down there. Okay, so this is where you can see my writing is not the best, but the nice thing about handmade cards is that they're all personalized. They're all unique, everyone. And I love when people send thank you cards, absolutely, but handmade cards, because you know they put that extra mile in. They put a bit of themselves into it and created something especially for you, which is always wonderful. So I've got my little thank you down here, and you can absolutely put anything you'd like to. It can be something unique to a situation, just thinking of you. That's always a great card to send. I can guarantee anybody who has a thinking of you, receives a thinking of you card, is going to be beyond thrilled. So next up, we're going to create some lines. We're going to create sections of paper. And you can see in the background here, I've got a few different designs, and this is going a little fancier because I've even got a little gold strip going on in here. That's just because there's some little offcuts of pieces that I had. And the pieces on here are all strips that I ripped out of magazines. So you can just use whatever you have, whether you have more origami paper, whether you have a magazine available to you. These are all pieces that you can just pull out, and absolutely old cards that maybe you've received, you can bring in, pull those strips off. Now, just bear in mind, you're going to want them 3 inches in length, but the width of them you can totally determine. Maybe they're half an inch, maybe it's an inch. You don't have to have a preconceived idea of how wide it needs to be. Now, I've got some strips here that I just pulled out of magazines and trimmed them off. And, you know, these are some from some clothing magazines, and I just found areas that I could pull in. I like it when they have some different texture to them. They're not like solid. You've got some here that looks like some rippling water. You've got the layers of the fabric, which look wonderful and definitely give some texture and details. So we're just going to try, you know, I've got a few strips here. You can pull in whatever colors you want to. And I've gone for something a little more muted here because I'm going to bring in my blue heart, and that's going to sit on top of them. So I don't want my heart to be competing with the background below. Okay, so what we can do now is decide. You can decide before you put the paper on which order do you want it. So we can give it a try out if you like. So you lie those pieces in. Do you want lots of blues in the background? Look, this is you can tell this is from a fabric. This piece of denim there. We've got some more gray. You can make the lines wider. You can make them thinner. And then you can pop on your heart and see, is it going to stand out? Is this how I want it to look? There you go. So I like to always lay mine out before I start so I can see what am I working with? What's it going to come together as? I think I might move this one out and bring in something else. Bring in a little bit more color here going on. So I think that's going to work for me. So I'm going to now start by putting down my layers. I'm going to start with one at the top. Now, usually when I do crafting, I always say, make sure you put your adhesive onto the piece that you're going to be lying down. But in this instance, I'm actually going to put my adhesive, and I've got just a wet glue here, straight onto my card base. And now I'm not going to go too far down because I don't want to stick things accidentally. So I'm going to just gradually build along here. So I'm going to put some glue here. And you want to make sure it's coming towards the end. But if you have a liquid glue like this or an Elmer's glue, something like this, you want to make sure that it's not too close to the edge and it's not too thick and globby, because what you'll find is it will ooze out and ooze everywhere. And especially when you're using paper that's thin, like from a magazine, you want to be careful that it's not going to rip either. It's going to get too wet. So I'm going to just fold up my card here and close it so that I can see if I have that top line flush with the fold. And if it's not, I probably have a few moments to adjust it. Okay, I think that's going to work for me. Now I'm going to just cut off this extra tail here, not precisely, it's still overlapping a little extra, but it becomes a bit too inconvenient for me when it's getting in the way. So I've got my first line down there. And so you're just going to continue to build up. I've already got a little bit of glue there. I'm going to put my next layer down. Now you can put it so that it butts up right to it, or you can have it so that it overlaps. You don't have to have your pieces straight. They could be at an angle. So I'm just going to carry on going. Okay, that one's stuck down because I had some extra glue. Now I'm going to put a little bit more glue here. A line of glue going along here. There we go. Sorry about that. I think you probably heard that, right? Okay, I'm going to carry on here. Okay, lying another piece down. All right, so I've got 2 strips, 3 strips. And then you can have as many strips as you want to. And as I said, you can change how wide they are. If you're overlapping pieces, you can have it so that they become thinner. Make this one a nice thin one. So I'm going to put a little bit more glue here. There we go. Overlap that one. So I've got a thin piece here. I'm going to cut off a few of these extra tails again. After we put all our layers down, we're going to go in and trim them right to the right size that we need them. Okay, I got a few more pieces that are going to give me some more textures and different appearance to them. Here we have it. Make that a little wider. And then bring in, I'm going to have one more piece here. And you can see mine aren't perfectly straight, but I'm okay with that. This is a handmade card. And I'm always like, well, if it doesn't look quite straight, it's okay. It just shows that it's handmade, and ultimately that's how it was meant to be, right? That's how I look at it. Okay, so one more strip here. And it's just gonna nearly touch onto my sentiment there. There we have it. Okay, so some nice stripes of different colors and patterns. I like just the interest of the different pieces. Okay, and then so like I said, you just bring in whatever you have available to you, and it's amazing what you can find and what you can use. The pink heart I made here was actually from an envelope that I'd received. It was a big envelope, and there was so much, it was just fully pink. So I was like, oh, this is definitely something to pull in and use. And I know this time of year, everybody gets inundated with magazines and catalogs wanting to sell you various different items for the holidays. So rather than pop them in the recycling, let's upcycle first. Okay, so there we have it. So I have my background made. I'm going to open it up again. I just find it easier to work with my cards when I open them so that they're flat like this. And then I have my heart to bring in. And I'm going to place my heart. You can place it center, you can place it off to the side. I'm going to place my heart slightly off to the side over here. And the reason being is because my sentiment is more to the right. So I'm trying to balance it out. So I'm going to turn the heart over. And I'm going to put some glue on here. And then you could, like I said, use some tape, whatever you have as far as adhesive is concerned. There we go. Bring it in, position the heart where I want it to go. Push it down. Oops, my little folds are popping up a little bit there. Here we go. I do want to try and make sure that the heart is straight rather than tipping over. But it's okay. Like I said, these are handmade cards. So there you have a very quick, simple little card. So what we're going to do is I'm going to make another one and see what colors we can come up with this time. But isn't that sweet? And anybody, I'm sure, who's going to receive a little card like this is going to be thrilled. And you can just have enough room to write a little message. If you need more room, you can turn it over, add some more comments, words of gratitude. Okay, let me move all my scraps that I've created from that piece. And I'm sure if you have long lengths, you can always use those on the next card or another one. Okay, let's see what I have here. Now I'm going to bring in some papers that I have as scraps that I have from creating other projects. So these ones have just been leftover pieces for me. And so I'm going to bring in this color palette. So this is more of a post-holiday Christmas festive combination of colors and papers. And I'm going to bring in the more of a red color, cherry color here, and create my heart with that. So you can be anywhere in the process of creating your cards right now. You could be still sticking down your strips, but I'm just going to go through the process again so you can see how very simple it is for us to create a really fun card to send out. And I'm going to walk through the process of creating the heart again so that you I feel happy and confident in creating that. So you can create many, and then if you want to, you can have some extras all ready for Valentine's too. So I'm just going to bring in those points, bring those points together, and I'm going to burnish. It's called burnishing, running. It's reinforcing that fold line just to make sure it's nice and clean. Okay, and so I'm going to fold it the other way too. So we've created those two big triangles. Okay, I'm going to run my fingernail along here. In paper crafting, we have this great tool called a bone folder, which I typically use. But that's not a tool that everybody uses, so I just want you to make sure that you know that you don't have to have all these specific tools to create really great fun projects. I've seen people take a ruler in the past and run across here. Now, word of warning, so I've found on my rulers, and you can see that straight away, that if I've used it for pencils or pens, then I've got a buildup of ink along that edge. So if you were to run that across your paper, I think you'd be sorely disappointed, because you'd find that that ink or the pencil has then rubbed off across your paper. So just be careful of that one. Okay, so this is opened up. I'm going to bring the bottom point to the center line and give that a good, reinforce that fold line. I'm going to rotate. Oh, thank you so much. You're going to rotate and bring that bottom point up to the top. Okay, I'm going to look here. This is a tricky one to see on. I want to make sure that I've run it right through that middle line, that midline. There we go. So we've reinforced that line too. Next up, we're going to do that fold where we bring it in along the center, the midline there. So we're going to hold, I'm going to put my finger to the side here and bring it straight up. And burnish it down. There we go. And I'm going to do exactly the same with the other side. So I'm holding my finger in the middle area here and bringing up this side piece to make the heart. There we go. So just a few folds to get us into the basic shape of that heart. And then we're going to flip it over and fold in those points. So I got the top point. I'll just get my finger underneath there. I'm going to fold that in. So it's just folded in there. It's a little hard. There you go. You can see there. You've got that top point folded in. And then we're going to bring the next one in and fold that one in. Okay, two top points folded in. Now we're going to bring those side ones in. Okay, side folded in, and now the other side too. Okay, push that down to make sure. So there you have your heart. Looks like this side I folded in a little bit more than the other one. Let's just go back. You can always, this is the other thing, you can always go back and adjust, make adjustments where you need to. And everyone's going to look, every one you make is going to be slightly different. There we go. Okay, going to come in and fold this one a little bit more here. And they're all going to be just right. Okay, there we have it. There I have my little heart. I really like as well when you have a design on here where you can see them all coming in different directions. Some of the hearts that I made out of magazine pages, you can see here that they're just found a piece of paper in the magazine that was big enough for me to just rip to pieces and create from. Look at this one. This one made me chuckle. It was from a food magazine. So you got the little candies and decorations and pieces there, but all just same technique, just bringing in and creating different hearts from different materials. So I can guarantee you're going to have something in your home that you can use to make these. Okay, heart made. I'm going to just do a little bit of gluing on this. Going to open up that little kind of like wing, isn't it? And put a bit of glue here. Just in that section there. Fold it back down. That's going to hold. Again, we're going to give it a few moments to hold. By the time I come back to putting it onto the card, then it will be all ready. Put a bit of glue here. Fold it back down. And I'm going to set this to one side so it's dry. Okay, I'm going to pull in another card base here. So this is my piece that is the 3x6. It's got 3x6 here, and fold it in half to make our little 3x3 card. I'm going to open it up. When I make cards, I always like to open it up after I folded it because I just find it lays nice and flat on the table and it's not going to pop up, and I find it more difficult to lay those layers down. So this time around, where I'm using these more festive colors, and I'm going to actually show you, I'm going to do a little stamping here. Obviously, if you don't have access to this, then you're going to just bring in your pen, write your sentiment, or if you don't feel comfortable with your sentiment, maybe in a magazine you found some letters that you want to work with, and you could stick down letters. Maybe you find the whole word already, or you bring in the individual letters, and you can do that. But I have to say, doing it handwritten is really nice too, because that just brings that personalization to it as well. So I've just got a little stamp here that says thank you. I'm going to bring in some dark green. When I do my stamping, I always like to stamp on a scrap first. That shows me if my ink is inked up enough, and also shows me if my stamp is going to stamp nicely for me. Let's just make sure that's sitting flat. Okay, I'm going to put my thank you over here to the right. So I've got my thank you. There we go. And now, okay, now I'm going to start layering, okay, with my different pieces of paper here. So I've got a rough order here that's going to work for me, and I'm going to start adding my adhesive. So I've got a little bit of adhesive at the top here, not too much, but enough that it's going to hold in place for me. Okay, I'm going to lay this one down. And again, I'm going to close my card up here so that I can make sure that my layer is all the way to the very top. I don't want the white peeking through at the top there. Okay, so that's one strip down. And it might be that you plan on putting lots of strips down, but by the time you get to putting them actually on the card, you find that you don't have enough room, and that's perfectly fine. I'm going to put this very wide band here, but I'm going to end up covering quite a lot of it. So I'm going to add the adhesive next. There we go. I'm going to bring this piece in. That's going to go straight up against the piece I've already laid down. Push that down, make sure it's secure. Now this is where I'm going to come in and layer over. So I'm going to cover up some of that which I've already put down. And you could even put a stripe. Here we go. So sorry about that. It's one of those alarms that comes on to tell me to pick up my children from school. And it's just not recognizing that they're not at school anymore for the holidays. Okay, here we go. So I've got another strip down here. And then I'm going to carry on building up these strips. I'm going to make this one very thin. So I'm going to add some more adhesive there. Okay. So that brings that one in. Then I've got a couple more here. How many am I going to be able to pop in here? I'm not quite sure. Maybe we can lay this one down. Ooh, that's going to be tight, isn't it? Or maybe I could do it the other way around so we have a wider part there. Let's see how this is going to work. This is why I like to try it out before I stick it down and commit. Because when you've stuck it down, there's no going back. There we go. I think that'll work nicely. There you go. So I'm gonna put my thicker strip here.
Hey, Sarah, it's Terry.
Okay.
What can I do for you?
And glue that one down there. It's just going to be right above my sentiment there. Okay. And then I'm going to come in with this last strip. This is where, as I say, it doesn't matter if you haven't cut it to quite the right length, you want quite the right width. You can always layer them and bring them in there. I'm going to bring that up a touch there. So I've got a thin line. Lots of different patterns and textures going on there. And just having the different widths is always fun too.
Hey, Sarah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to turn it over now and trim these down. I'll just bring in my paper scissors. And I say paper scissors because if you're a crafter like me, then I have my scissors for different jobs. And I definitely have a separate pair of scissors for cutting fabric and ribbons, which are not to be used on paper in my house. There we go. Just trim these edges off. And again, if you're a paper crafter, you might have a paper trimmer around to use. So you could always bring in your paper trimmer here and just snip those all off in one good swoop. There you go. Here you go. So I have my basic layout with my strips and my little thank you sentiment. And now I can bring in my heart that I created and add some dimension there, some more dimension by adhering this on. So let's just bring in some adhesive and lay this down on the card. There we have it. So there you go. So in no time at all, we've created 2 little cards. You might have created more already. You might have multiple hearts that you've made. Because as I said, for me, when I started making these hearts, it was just like I couldn't stop. I found lots of pieces of paper that I could make hearts with and create them. So you're going to make individual cards. They're all going to be unique because every one you create is going to be a little different. Hi, Terry.
Hey, Sarah. I'm sorry, I'm
now.
interrupting the end here.
We haven't got sound for you, Terry. Okay. All right, I'm just going to carry on. I know Terry popped in there, but I couldn't hear her. Maybe you guys could. Okay, so there we have our little hearts and our little cards. And I've got my little blue one here, which is all made from magazine pieces, which is always fun. Like I said, I'm sure you have many, many different areas that you can pull in from to find that you have paper you can recycle. You could use copy paper. I mean, if you have different color copy paper, I went to have a look to see if I had any, but I didn't have any copy paper. But I'm sure you do at home. You can use the plain white copy paper to practice on to create your hearts. You could, if you have children wanting to make these, and then maybe they're going to create a design on a piece of paper, which you can then cut up and have their own pieces on. And one thing to remember though is when you're creating your heart, if you have two sides to it, make sure that when you fold, you have the side that you want to see on your heart facing down on your table. Okay, so it's just going to be coming up then, and then this is the side that you will be able to see on your finished heart. So there you go. Okay, great. I think there's a question. Please, do you make your own envelopes for these cards? You certainly can do. I haven't got dimensions for that. I have a particular machine that I use to make envelopes, and I'm more than happy to put together some information. And when this posts on YouTube, then I can add a comment in there and I can give you the dimensions on what you would need to make an envelope for this, as far as what size kind of piece of paper you would need. Because you can always bring in this kind of situation where you have a piece of paper like this, and you can then create your envelope by folding in the sides and folding in the other side. There you go. And you could put a little piece of tape here. Let's see. I've got a little double-sided tape here. Let's do this here. So I'm going to put a little piece of double-sided tape there. That's going to fold in there. And then you can just bring in. And you see, this was a 6x6 piece of paper there. So you could just create your own little envelope by folding like this. And that's just laying it down on the angle. I'm just going to pull that open so you can see again. So this is your 3x3 card and a 6x6 piece of paper. And that is just, as I say, simply just folding it in, folding the sides in, have a little bit of tape here to hold that one in place. And then folding it over. There you go. It's not the neatest with the way of doing it here. You could always fold this piece in so that it's a little neater. Let's see. You can fold it in here like this. So it creates your little envelope. And then adding the paper, the colored paper is really pretty. It might mean that you have to put a sticker on here, or maybe you're going to write something in a dark color ink. If you're going to use something like a Sharpie, I would definitely suggest that you write it on here without your card inside, just in case it's going to go through. If you don't, that would be disastrous too. If you had your beautiful card that you made and you wrote on this little piece here to make your envelope and it went through. So just take that into consideration. But this will work easily. So this was a 6x6. And then you can just fold in those areas there and add a little, create a very quick, simple piece there. Okay, there we go. So that's what we have going on today. I hope you've enjoyed making these cards. All little 3x3s, finished cards. And as I said, you can bring in whatever sentiments that you want to. And then you can use this heart that you've learned how to make and use this on multiple different projects. You could come in and maybe make some Valentine's cards. So there you have it. Hi, Terry.
Hi, I'm not sure if you can hear me. Apparently other people can. So I just am going to say thank you to Sarah for these wonderful cards. They're so beautiful. I loved learning how to make the little hearts. We've had lots of lovely comments about using these cards for other occasions like birthdays and gift cards, and anytime you want to help make someone's day a little brighter. Also, I want to encourage everybody to sign up again for our winter reading challenge at lapl.org/winter. And to find out about all the other wonderful events we have, you can go to lapl.org/events and find out what your local library is doing or what we have here on StreamYard. So we hope you'll check that out. I'm really sorry that we had a few little glitches with the sound. I'm happy you can hear me, but I don't think Sarah can. So thank you all for joining us. And we will see you all again soon. Thank you.